Hi everyone, this is Greg, aka Gregoire from Greg's Whiskey Guide. Welcome on board and thank you so much for being faithful to the channel, and also thank you so much to the new subscribers. I hope you're all well, and I hope you will forgive me. I'm posting a bit less these days, and it's probably going to be the same in July. Don't know about August, I absolutely don't know. This related to some family issues and personal issues related to them. So yeah, my mind is not completely to whiskey, I have to say, to be honest. But at the same time, I won't let you down, guys, and let this thing down, because it kind of helps, even if I'm not into this every day, I have to say. But it helps a bit get distracted from all these problems, and I'm not even mentioning COVID shit. Yes, I was going to say. So yeah, to put a long story short, I promised you two numbers, and probably three or four, but or five, related to finishes in whiskey, and sometimes full maturation as well. For today's episode, which I kind of lighten the presentation, and I will put a link on the description below the video to let you be more informed about this, because I'm not a specialist about this fortified wine we're gonna speak about. But I will give you a few quick informations to start with. And yes, it is one of my very best favorite whiskey finish. It is Madeira, Madère in French. So Madeira is a fortified wine from Portugal, which is in the archipelago, I think it's in English, a group of isles which are 700 kilometers far away from Portugal and almost close to the Morocco coasts. At the beginning of this series, I'm going to speak about also port finishes, rum finishes, sherry oloroso finishes, sherry PX finishes, Sauternes finishes. So each one will get a special video. I wanted to buy something, the original product, let's say one kind, because there's so many different, to illustrate the thing, do a tasting and give you my impressions, and then go to the whiskies. But unfortunately, with all that happens, I just found one bottle. I don't even dare to show you, so I'll quickly show you, but I'm ashamed to even to show it to you, because it appears that French audience is not very interested by Madeira wine, so that I struggle to find something decent. I have something very cheap that almost undrinkable, and if I wanted some high-end stuff or something really special, I had to pay quite a bit, and I didn't want, because it is not sure I will drink it. Madeira is quite different from port in the finish results in terms of tastes. It's a lot of oxidations in there, so it's a very rough around the edges to try if you don't come across something really of a high quality. And honestly, I'm always surprised. I haven't tasted a lot of Madeira wines, some in some wine, whiskey and spirit shows, I have to say, several ones over the years, but not as much as port, not as much as sherry wines, rum as well. So my experience, apologies about Madeira wine, is not very important, to be clear, but I have some information I'm gonna share with you, and the link will provide you much more information about Madeira. What else to say? Yeah, strangely, the wine doesn't seem to be to my liking. Of the 3 or 4 maximum I did try so far, which is done enough to have a definitive opinion, I know that. But strangely is one of my favorite finishes. So I don't know what happens with the interaction of whiskey and wine, fortified wine, Madeira, to make it so appealing and interesting, in my opinion. But that's it. Okay, so few words about Madeira. I'm gonna do it quick because we got several things to taste on the table. So yeah, it's from Portugal. It's fortified wine, so there's alcohol which is added to it at some point. Same principle as the port muted wine. Yeah, this is in French, so I'm trying to quick translate for you. And of course, same interest in aging. Young Madeira, not very interesting, it seems. And it's the aging that makes it all the interest. And also same supremacy, as I read here, of the bottling companies, maturation bottling companies that are mainly English. So yeah, lots of things. 500 acres, hectare in French, on the south of the islands. Volcanic soil. It's important to mention volcanic soil. That makes something very special. So yeah, Madeira wines are from one grape, let's say monocépage in French, and they bear the name of the grape, the variety. So it's Cercial, Bual, Verdelho, or Malvoisa, which is Malmsey in English. For the white grapes, Terrantes, Tinta Negra for the red wine grapes. Mentions like 5, 10, 15, 20 years old are, like for whiskey, telling the minimum of the age of the content. Lots of US American oak used that are also made on site in the islands. Angel's share is around 3 to 5% per year. That means that a Malmsey 15 years old will be very much more intense than a 5 years old. And as the article says as well, the price will be also as intense. Okay, so the vintage, which is the Colita, it's the name of the vintage. There's an institute of Madeira wines that gives this vintage regarding the quality of the harvest. So a 10 years old Colita has to spend 10 years in old kind of Solera big vats, and then it's stored in vertical bottles, vertically put into the cellar, so it's very special, and ambient temperature. What can I say else to go quick? Yeah, VDN, it's a VDN family, so muted wine, licorice wine, moelleux, which is sweet, but not the sweetest. Yeah, there's around 30 grape varieties, cépage, of Madeira, but the most nobles are you have to look at that on the label of the bottle if you get to buy some. The most noble or sought after are the Cercial, the Boal, Verdelho, and Malvasia. The Cercial is among the driest, very clear color and perfume. Verdelho is half dry, delicate, to go with the meal. The Bual is half sweet, suave and noble, and it's more for roasted meat and dessert. And with the Malvasia, which is more for the dessert, it's the sweetest and the most intense one. Okay, so that's all for the presentation of the Madeira, which is very specific, very oxidative taste. It's not for everyone, really, I tell you. It's more difficult to enjoy for me than the port wine, clearly. Then now about whiskies. First, I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me on the comments, please. First, whiskey, Scotch whiskey at least, finished single malt in history. I think it's in 1996. I don't have the bottle, but I have a sister bottle, which is the port one. So it is this range, and I remember, if I'm not wrong, it was a green stripe here and here. In this core range, old core range, Glenmorangie, there was a Madeira finish, and I tried it. I didn't had it, but I tried it. Sorry. And also this portwood, we're gonna speak about it in the special port issue video. So that's it for the origins of Madeira cask finishing. There are a few full maturation Madeira whiskies. I'm not sure I've tried any, honestly. There were some interesting experiments, but the price often gets quite high. I don't know why. At Balvenie, they did a Madeira cask. I don't remember if it's a finish or a full maturation. I'm probably rather finish. Springbank did also one a few years ago or a decade ago. Haven't done, honestly, precise researches because I don't have them and I don't remember the taste if I have tried them, and I didn't find it on my notes. So just mentioning about what I have on the table. I'm not going to try all of them because I've already talked or did a review about some of them, and I will put the description the ones I did. That's, for instance, the Irish Bushmills 21 years old, which is finished in Madeira cask, but mainly matured in bourbon and sherry cask, mind you. The Arran Madeira cask finish, which is in the core range of the finishes, probably discontinued this, mind you. I have also reviewed it. One I talked about and probably reviewed it in very early days of my website, so I might come back to it. One of my favorite Madeira finishes, it's from Kool-Aid Tyrconnell, 10 years old, Madeira cask, it says, but it is a finish. 10 years old, finished, yeah, in Madeira cask, 46%. It's a very good one. And I'm gonna try two whiskies that are from the core range, current core range, or limited edition, but still available, which I think it's maybe more relevant for you guys if you like them, to know more and maybe purchase them or have a try, sample, I don't know. So I'm gonna speak and try later on in the video about this Penderyn Welsh distillery, Penderyn Madeira, and this is the old packaging, which I'm sorry, guys from the distillery, I prefer 100% from the new one, which I find ugly, squarish, very modern, cold, like it's a trend for many distilleries, unfortunately, even in France. Yes, I said it. So I have the Arran. So these are all the bottles I have in my collection. Unfortunately, I wish I had more Madeira cask finishes, but that's all, 6 bottles only. Most recent one is there. I'm gonna speak and try it. One of my very best Madeira finishes is this one, private cask. It's a limited edition. Too much light, maybe. Let me just change this. Not sure it changes a lot. Maybe it's due to my lighting, I'm sorry guys. So this was a 2015 bottling from the private cask range, not to be mistaken with other people. So this was a limited edition to 350 bottles, bottle of 46%. Not to be confused with the very recent one, which is a full maturation Madeira cask, and in a new range, experimental range. Haven't tried it, unfortunately. I'm very curious about this one, but now I gotta stop my purchases at the moment for everything. It's life, but the show must go on, like Freddie Mercury said once. Last but not least, I finally got it before all my recent troubles. The Madeira Cask finish from Slyrs, German distillery, which I talked about it. Same, I will put a link below in German Whiskies special video. I won't open it right now because I didn't take the proper pictures and stuff, so I still have some here. What else to say? About value. Now this one, the Bushmills, is coming out around 150, maybe sometimes 70 or more. It's a bit difficult. It's still a good value in my opinion, but there's probably more interesting options, such as if you can find, I'm not sure it discontinued, but I see still some on the shelves. If you can find this Sauternes Madeira Cask finish, I think it's one of the best values on the market. 70 euros, something like that. Now on the profiles, yeah, this is discontinued, that's why I'm not reviewing now, but I shall speak about it because it's a beautiful bottling. Actually, I think it's the best on the table. The Aran is very good as well. Not sure you might find it still now. The Slyrs is very nice, I really enjoyed it. That's why I bought a bottle. And the Penderyn, of course, you can still find. And this one was of the earliest bottling, so I believe the juice is probably younger than what is now inside. I'm not sure about that, so I cannot even give you an age statement. Probably 4 to 7, I don't know, years old. But good value, as well as the Slyrs, around 70 euros. The Glenmorangie, I think I had it around 60, but it was a long time ago, 2005. The Aran about 55, a few years ago only. So yeah, we're gonna try that. Hope it's not gonna be too long. We're gonna try the Madeira Cask from, which is still a finish. They use some kind of recipe mixing bourbon and then Madeira. It's a long time. I did not do some research. I'm sorry. It's a bit hard at the moment. If I have some information to give you about it more precise, I will give them in the description, right? Doesn't say really it's a finish, but I know it's a finish, honestly. Handcrafted, blah blah blah. Doesn't really say on the label, but what it says, it's non-chill filtered and 46%. Doesn't talk much about color. I take there might be some color. What's interesting about Penderyn, it's the new make is because of very tall steels, which are mixing some different kind of pot and column steel. It's a kind of huge column steel, and if I remember well, there's also a pot still involved, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I didn't do my proper researches, sorry. but the ABV at the exit of the stills, I think, was around 90, something like that, and they watered down after that. So it's very dense and concentrated and very refined new make they do. So what's very characteristic of Penderyn, in this one of the purest expressions, probably I have to say, it's the Madeira. It's their thing. It's one of the first non-Scottish, yeah, I have to add that, one of the first non-Scottish distilleries to have a massive use of Madeira cask in their production, which I had to mention. Yeah, beautiful floral notes, some citrus fruit, some fresh herbs and botanicals, lots of vanilla, some ginger as well. Yeah, it's a lovely nose. Honestly, the core range is beautiful. It's very nice. The entry level of the core range, which are younger no-age statements, I believe, it shows Celt, Meath, and another one I don't remember, are not really right up my alley. I think there's more introductory offer than those ones that my favorite are the there's Madeira, the Sherrywood, and also the Portwood, which can be a bit weird according to the batch variations or period of time. I have a 40% Portwood. I will speak about it in the special port maturation and finishes video, but it's 40% one. Why I know, and I tried more recent one that are 46 now, and much better recipe in my opinion. This for the nose. On the palate now. Sweetness at the beginning, and then loads of spice. A bit aggressive. Ginger, even some chili pepper. But the dried herbs are coming right after it, very intensively. Then you get the first hints of Madeira, which is very difficult for me to explain, I have to say. There's some kind of half oxidative, very highly oxidation note, mixed with candied fruit, strong candied fruit notes around the yellow, what I call the yellow or gold fruits territory, which will be pear, citrus, cedra in French, I think it's citrus as well, lemon, and quince for me. So these are, and sometimes apricots as well, but these are the notes that you will find in all of these whiskies, I believe, and beautiful floral notes. For this one, they're a bit tight into some loads of spices, so you need a bit of water, in my opinion, to let them come through better. So I will add a few drops. 46%. It's a very well. It's nice to have this ABV, and everyone will put as much water as he wants. Oh, I see. If time is running out, too much ranting or talking. Yeah, it's more seductive. The vanilla is married now with the fruit and floral elements, and it kind of caresses you on the nose to say, hey, I'm more sexy than you think. Something like that. Yeah, it's good to speak about whiskey. It distracts me from the rest. Well, I put the correct amount of water, but do not put too much water on it, or you might see appear some cardboardy notes that I noticed in the very young expressions, but not in this one. And also you will lose some shining fruit things. Yeah, it's in the limit. I diluted a bit too much probably, but it's still interesting. Yeah, huge impact on this one of the Madeira, which is wrapping the bourbon notes, bourbon cask notes. But the combination of the two is interesting. I noticed some of the bottlings of this are more mature now, probably more interesting in this one. But I opened it recently, so I'm happy to have this one rather than this squarish thing. I know some of you guys like it. I do not. But I might do something weird. That is, when this one will be empty, I might buy a new one to put it to this one. So fetishist as I am. My personal taste. I let it for later on. Now let's speak about this one, which is a 3 to 6 years old. 9 months, if I'm not mistaken. The bottle is fucking heavy. Oh my god. It's beautiful glass work. Once again with engravings. I love the bottle. I think this is really a beautiful job. Non-chill filtered, non-colored, 46%. It's from Bavaria area of Germany. For those who don't know, I did a live show with their brand ambassador and a French retailer and grocer that sells them into French audience. And I own now 4 different ones, 4 Slyrs and 1 liquor, which is absolutely fantastic, and I haven't opened it yet. But I still have some Madeira finish from the samples he kindly sent me for the show. We did, and again I will put the link into the description so you can yeah, lots of limestone here, unfortunately, which taints the... So this is darker, as you can see here, a bit darker, but still gold. This is 46%, which is interesting to compare it to the Madeira, to the Penderyn. By the way, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 countries there, and I'm happy with that. 4 different countries. There's much more than that. That 4 countries that use Madeira cask finishing. So Germany, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and what did I say? Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and Germany. And all these comes from the United States for the oak mainly, and Portugal for the Madeira wine. Very international. On the nose. This is rich. This is very balanced between the very malty, special malty, even approaching from other cereals than malt, which is a very specific to Slyrs, which is kind of mix of different cereals, but still very malty, very clean. And yeah, what I like in those finishes for most of them in the range, in the limited edition finishes range from Slyrs, it's none of them I think is overpowering the distillate and the distillery house style, which is great. I have my favorites among them, like I said, the rum cask, the Oloroso cask, which is awesome. The Madeira, but the Sauternes is nice. The PX sherry is nice. The Marsala is nice. The port I don't remember well, so I had maybe should try it. So the nose is very dense. There's something sometimes a slightly buttery or with some rancio, like we say in French, for the cognacs and the armagnacs. Some kind of oxidative, musty, very mature and green forest moss and stuff elements into it. So it's very dense. It's not the same impression as the Penderyn and even as the Arran and the Glenmorangie. So it's another thing on the palate which is interesting. Now on the there's an oaky side of it coming back. Some tight oak and spice. Also, I tried it live, so now it has been a bit too much oxidated. We'll see with the full bottle later on. But I remember I liked it a lot because it had a lot of balance and some nice, almost acidulous notes. Very subtle. We'll compensate this big oxidation with a few drops of water to tame a bit the spices and the oak. And no, I'm not sure it works, but believe me, I tried it earlier on, so I know it's good. Very well balanced. Some charm coming from the floral notes, which is really appealing. And on the second ground, the quince notes, the yellow fruits, like I said. So yeah, again this beautiful half oxidated, half difficult to express yellow fruit notes, floral notes. So all this combined together in some kind of silky mystery envelope makes the charm of the Madeira. You can have either Irish, Welsh, Scottish or German whiskey basis. Then the Madeira often, not always, but often brings an additional layer of flowers and fruits and a few spices, but it's not the main characteristic. That this gives something really, for me, appealing, that when the whiskey is already good, before the finishing, it gives another dimension for me and makes it go to another level, and that's what I like in Madeira finishes. Okay, I've been very long this time once more. Sorry guys, so I will stop it there. I hope you find it interesting. I will add things in the description, so please always read the descriptions. That's work behind it. And I hope you're going well. I might do the port number soon to follow this one. Maybe just one tasting of a unique whiskey or a few ones. We'll see according to the mood. In the meantime, take care and stay safe. Bye bye, and thank you again for passing by.